Welcome everyone to the Lben Teahouse. I'm your host Lben. Recently, a TV series of the same name remade from a Japanese drama aired in China and was met with strong criticism by many netizens. Many people said it was the worst TV series they had ever seen. As you clever viewers may have guessed, the series I'm referring to is Midnight Diner, starring Huang Lei. Today, we won't be evaluating the series, but rather its title has evoked memories of my life drifting in Beijing. So tonight, let's talk about the theme of midnight. The term Dai Pai Dong was originally transmitted here from the Hong Kong and Taiwan regions. With their thriving economies, the dazzling night lights, and rich nightlife, the street food stalls are the places that cater to the nighttime diners. In Beijing, these places are called dirty stalls. However, the term looks quite fashionable at face value, so even a single stall is referred to as a Dai Pai Dong. In fact, their presence is primarily to meet the dining needs of the city's nighttime floating population. You might ask, shouldn't everyone be home at night? Why do so many people need supper? In Beijing, a sprawling city with tens of millions of people, whether company white-collar workers or corporate executives, they certainly go home at night. But when night falls, there are many scenes in the city that you have never seen before. Back in my drifting days in Beijing, the place I stayed was called Dongshan. It's in an excellent location, with Huhai and South Luogu Lane to the west, and the bustling Workers' Stadium and Sanlitun to the east. I remember that every night around 10, the little stall in front of my door would start its business on time. You might be curious, aren't they afraid of the city management when they open the stall at night? This is part of the drifting life. Night stalls have to wait until the city management is off work before they dare to quietly set up. These stalls mainly serve the nighttime crowd, such as the overtime workers who get off work at around 10 at night. After work, they might want to enjoy some grilled mutton skewers in the slightly cool night air, drinking and chatting with a few close friends, looking forward to a beautiful tomorrow. Or at midnight, there's another peak for takeout. Back then, takeout was not as convenient as it is now, so many people chose to dine at the food stalls. After midnight, it was the liveliest time for the stands. The staff from nearby nightclubs got off work, and the northeastern big brothers would talk freely with their younger brothers and sisters, eating kebabs while sharing interesting stories from life and pearls of wisdom. At this time, you would also see taxi drivers and sanitation workers coming here to satisfy their cravings, continuing until the early morning, after 5 o'clock. If it goes beyond 6, someone will come to chase them away. It's time to serve the early risers. Although the stall is small, it has 5 or 6 tables, enough for diners. The boss is from the northeast, his wife is from Sichuan, one focused on grilling skewers and the other on hot pot skewers, along with some spicy pomegranate dishes, making this small stall quite an authentic Dai Pai Dong. Nearby, there are various snacks like jianbing gozi and xiao long bao surrounding it, creating a lively scene. In those days, if I happened to work overtime into the night, I would also call a few friends to have a drink at this stall, chat, and enjoy the tranquility and bustle of the night. I hope tonight's sharing has allowed you to feel the atmosphere of that time, and if you have a chance, come to Beijing's dirty stalls for an experience. Tonight's story takes place on a midsummer night in 2009, already the latter part of the night. There weren't many people at the stall, just me and a buddy who was also drifting in Beijing, as well as a couple feeding each other. The stall had 4 small tables that could seat 4 or 5 people each, and there was also a round table that could fit 10 people if we squeezed in. Since we hadn't received any acting roles and the director was busy, we could only drink in silence to drown our sorrows. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the road opposite. He was tall with a remarkable presence, and despite his advanced age, he was lively and strode towards our stall. I thought to myself, could this elder be a high-ranking official from Beijing conducting a secret survey of the public sentiment? As it turned out, the old man came over and declared immediately, "I'm taking this large table, quickly bring the menu." But then he waved his hand to indicate that he wanted to order everything on the menu, enough to feed 10 people. The waiter, surprised, asked, "Sir, how many are you? Won't you order too much and waste food?" The waiter tried to persuade him but was refused by the old man, who simply asked the waiter to pour water. My friend and I were also curious, thinking that the old man must have an incredible appetite. As the waiter was busy grilling spices and serving dishes, I said to my friend that with every toast we made, the old man also raised his glass. However, my friend thoughtfully said that perhaps the old man wished to drink with the people at his table. Although I found it unbelievable, I also considered that there might be more people with mental illnesses in Beijing, so I didn't take it too seriously. We continued to eat our lamb skewers and it was already past midnight, approaching 1 o'clock. As we were waiting for the rest of the skewers to be served, it was about time for the nightclub staffers to finish work. Sure enough, a noisy clamor came from outside, followed by a group of 8 or 9 people entering. They were the security staff from a nearby club, but they claimed to work in a factory, probably to add some prestige. As soon as they entered, they saw that the large table had already been claimed by an old man. The security staff, displeased by the old man's silent occupation of the table, started to argue with the waiter. A young guy named Futeng provocatively pointed out that the entire large table was taken by one old man, leaving no room for them. The waiter hurriedly approached with a smile, hoping to rearrange the seating. As tension grew, a big brother wearing sunglasses at this late hour, with a cigarette in his mouth, stepped up and admonished his junior to be courteous. With a few old sayings, he reminded everyone about the importance of manners and customs in society, eventually suggesting that they negotiate with the old man. After all, one should not trouble an elderly person. That evening, as the big brother showcased his physique with tattoos all over his body, he mumbled to himself that the weather was unbearably hot and it was easy to break a sweat. His minions were flattering him, urging him to handle the situation. But the big brother dismissed them with a wave of his hand, saying he would show them what he could do. He then respectfully bowed and demonstrated some kung fu moves, pressing one hand to his neck and crossing the other, showcasing a series of actions. He asked his minions if they knew what this move was called. "This is called wrapping up the cold," he said. "This technique can't be bought with money." Before he could finish, the old man stared at him in a fixed gaze. "I'm speaking politely to you, old man, what kind of attitude is this?" A minion was about to step up to respond but was pushed away by the big brother, warning him not to lose measure. The big brother said to the elder, "It's not quite appropriate for one person to take up such a big space. It doesn't align with our socialist core values. Look how you're pressuring this gentleman. This could easily bring shame upon you." Before a solution could be found, the big brother picked up the cup of liquor and downed it in one go. But the elderly gentleman casually cracked a joke, saying that the liquor was quite strong and one should think carefully before drinking. A minion, not to be outdone, grabbed the cup to drink, but only got halfway through his words before collapsing. The old man looked at the fallen minion, took a sip of the wine himself, and ate another bite of food. By now, because the commotion was so loud, our table, including the nearby vendors, had all heard and started to gather around. This put the big brother in a difficult position, as it was not suitable to start a fight, nor did he want to give in and change places. "Elder, you sure can hold your drink. What exactly are you selling here? How come it's so strong?" Another minion, confused, said, "Big brother, he can't drink this, he's competing to see who can hold their drink. Here's your chance, drink." A second minion picked up the cup and downed it, only to also collapse in a row. The old man held the wine cup, as if reading words on the table, saying that although today had been a bit rowdy, it had also been a happy time, everyone merry together. The night was late, the noise enough, time for everyone to disperse. After finishing, he lifted the wine cup and drank lavishly. Then, like being swept away by the wind, he left the stall. As the crowd dispersed, the owner came up to me with respect, joking that he was scared today, truly worried that they were purposely looking for trouble with him. But after witnessing today's events, he believed they would be quiet for many days to come. The owner was curious, wondering if I had also had a good sleep last night for the same reasons. The old man turned back to look at us, who innocently gathered around him, and then revealed the truth. It turns out that the old man was a yin messenger, commonly known in folklore as an emissary from the underworld. In this world, there are special people who can traverse between the realms of the living and the dead, conducting affairs for the living, and even after they pass on and become spirits, they can still carry out heaven's will. The old man said he was on a mission today and came across several homeless lonely spirits on the roadside waiting to possess people and cause mischief. Since he was in a good mood, he greeted them and carved out a few cups of wine for them in the world of the living. Legend has it that in the underworld, good wine can't be bought with money, so to be able to drink freely in the world of the living is their greatest wish. And us, having heard these inconceivable words, could only stand there stunned. My brother asked me if the old man was telling the truth. Somewhat influenced, I picked up the remaining wine on the table and gulped it down, only to immediately feel the world spinning, as if my soul had left my body, and not waking up until noon the next day. Alright, tonight's story comes to an end.